The stunning death of Oscar-winning actor Philip Seymour Hoffman from what's believed to be a heroin overdose, putting the spotlight on a drug that's seeing a resurgence, and it's cheaper and deadlier than ever. Reports saying 70 bags of heroin and 20 needles found in Hoffman's apartment in New York City. But its rise is being seen all over the country. I want to bring in two terrific guests on this now. Dr. Mark Siegel, part of our Fox News Medical A-Teamer, and professor of medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center. He's in New York. Dr. Daniel Bober is a certified addiction physician and psychiatrist out of Miami. And to both of you gentlemen, thank you. I want to talk about this alarming trend. And the reason we're doing this segment, there have been stories out of Kentucky for 2 years about the rapid rise of heroin abuse. There's a story out here in Long Island, New York, about a young man dying from it, a story up in Vermont. More widespread use in places like New Jersey we're hearing about. Just look on the screen for a moment here. From 2007 to 2012, the number of users up 80%. For the decade of 2000 to 2010, overdose up 55%. Then the third line, heroin seized at the southwest borders up 232%. Dr. Bober, those are numbers you cannot ignore. The question is why?
Well, Bill, what happened was in 1996, the drug OxyContin hit the market, and it spurred to record use. By 2001, it was one of the best-selling drugs in America. And there were overdose deaths at epidemic proportions, and there still continue to be. But as law enforcement intervened and there was greater regulation, people started shifting from pharmaceutical-grade OxyContin to the cheaper alternative heroin because the supply of the pills dried up. And so we're seeing this disturbing trend of heroin overdoses. And what's really sad is it's starting to infiltrate the upper income segments of America. And so gone are the days of the stereotype of the homeless junkie in a back alley with a needle in his arm. We're seeing heroin in the upper income levels, and it's putting a new face on this tragedy.
Let me get back to that point in a moment. First, Dr. Siegel here in New York. What is attractive to an abuser for a drug like this? Why do they want it?
Bill, you know, it replaces the endorphins that our brain makes that gives us a sense of euphoria or treats our own pain. And it does it in a way where you get a sense of euphoria, and it works as a rush over just a few hours. So if you're looking for a quick fix to make all your problems go away, this is it. You end up detached, you end up feeling happy, you're in no pain. So that's why. Now, the other issue is, to add to what Dr. Bober just said, it's becoming more and more dangerous, Bill, because the amounts that are in there is so variable, it's hard to know if you're getting an overdose, and they're mixing it with other drugs like fentanyl, which is a pain drug that can make it work even more rapidly and more powerfully. Again, it's replacing a hormone that the brain itself makes.
And you would say, you know, adults should know better, but it's the kids you think about who might be exposed to this at a young age, maybe in their teenage years. If you're a parent, what's a telling sign?
Well, first of all, I want parents out there to know that 80% of the heroin users are using other drugs, and 19 million people used marijuana last month, so it's all connected to different drug use. But if you're a parent out there, you have to look for this detachment, look for this euphoria, look for someone who isn't performing as well at school as you were expecting them to. It's a sudden detachment from the social function.
Interesting. Dr. Bowden, back to you. You mentioned it's not a problem just for the junkie in the alley anymore. But we're reading stories about low income, upper income, middle income. It crosses all classes now, and that's different.
That's absolutely true. And the reason for that, again, is supply and demand. It's something like $80 or $100 to buy an OxyContin tablet. It's about $9 per dose of heroin. So it's really just simple economics that people are going to turn to the drug that's cheaper and easier to obtain, and a lot of the treatment centers are seeing people coming from zip codes in the upper income neighborhoods. So it really shows that this drug does not discriminate based on income, and if the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman taught us anything, it taught us that this can affect anyone at any age and at any level of income.
Yeah, that's a great point. Mark?
Well, it's getting cheaper, to add to Dr. Bober's point, much cheaper. And here's the biggest warning of all. It can stop your breathing. Watch out. That's how it kills you, and it can happen before you know it, like it did for him.
Thank you, Dr. Mark Siegel and Dr. Daniel Bober down there in Miami, Florida. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Both of you.